not going to get a second chance in the game.
Let's go. Let's go Delta.
I'm Al Craig, the head football coach here at Oakwood High School in Oakwood, Illinois. I'm speaking today on taking a good wing tee and making it great. And I'll get right into it here. First, I want to start off with some thank yous here. I want to thank Chief Pigskin for giving me this opportunity. I know when Coach Allball asked me to speak, I was a little nervous about it, but I think it's going to turn out to be great. And obviously, if you have been a follower of Chief Pigskin for a while, you may recognize my face from a few things that we've done here at Chief Pigskin. So this isn't all new to me, but this part of it is, like actually having to give information to people and not just talking football. So I'm excited about the opportunity to be here. My family, you guys all know, your coaches. You can't do this job without a solid background, a solid family backing you up. Last night I was working a little bit on my presentation, and my girlfriend, wanted to chime in and do her part, and she helped out and make it a little more pretty than it was. So shout out to her and, her putting up with football season and now clinic season. The Oakwood administration, I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity. I was a young guy with not a lot of experience, and they took a chance on me this year as their head coach, and I think it's paying off. I don't know, maybe not, but we'll see. And then thank you to my assistant coaches. Behind every good coach, there's wonderful assistants, and I am definitely blessed. Those guys don't make a lot of money. A lot of them don't make any money at all, and I couldn't do it without them. I have 3 paid assistants, and you can't do a great job with only 4 coaches. So I have another 4 that volunteer their time and don't get anything. They're just Oakwood guys that love the program and love being around. So shout out to those guys. They made a lot of this possible as well. And then my players. You can be the best offensive genius or defensive genius in the world, but if you don't have players that can execute your systems, it really is for nothing, right? I mean, you're not going to be as successful if you have players that don't believe, and our kids do believe in the wing tee. It's brought them some success here. This is their 3rd year of running this offense. 2 years with the guy that was before me, and we're all kind of from the same coaching family tree. And so now this is year 3 of it, so the kids believe in it. A little bit about us, a little bit about the Comets. We're a small Class 2A school in Illinois, close to the Indiana border by Danville, Illinois, if anybody's familiar with that. We went 5-5 last year. We were 4-1 in the conference, which gave us our first conference championship since the conference has been named the Vermilion Valley Conference. Before that, we had won a few conference championships before it was the Vermilion Valley. We broke school records for total yards. We had 4,074. Yards rushing in a season, we had 3,535. Rushing touchdowns in a season, we had 44. Points scored in a season, we had 353. Total yards in one game, we had 611 in a game this year. And yards rushing in a game, we had 564. We had 2 rushers over 1,000 yards. We had our fullback was about 1,100 yards. Our tailback was about 1,600 yards. And then our Z-backs, who are a wing, they accounted for about 800 combined. There was 2 of them. We had an injury in the middle of the season. So those guys split time there, and they each, they combined ran for about 800 yards. And, as is with a lot of wing tee teams, we only had 75 pass attempts on the year. It's a little lower than I wanted, but that's obviously why we only ended up with about 500 passing yards. We only threw the ball about 75 times. My story, a little bit about me. I spent 6 years as an assistant at Champaign Central before I came here to Oakwood. And that was kind of where I had my wing tee roots. You could say that I was raised in coaching in the wing tee. But I love option football, and I had told everybody that would listen to me for years that I was going to be an option coach someday, that I was going to go get my own program, and I was definitely going triple option. And nothing could stop me, and nobody could stop me and tell me what to do. But, things change, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. I was good friends with the former Oakwood coach. We coached together at Champaign Central, and he kind of led me to this opportunity here. And he was a wing tee guy as well. So like I said, this is the 3rd year of their program, or 3rd year of them running the wing tee. 2 with him and then 1 with me. So he had a really good offense here, and he had a great foundation built. And, I had talked to him about the things that he was going to do to kind of take it to the next level before he left. So we kind of bounced ideas off each other. And now I feel like we took it to a level this year that we were the most prolific offense in school history. So I'm excited about that. I got hired as the head coach in Oakwood in late June. So for you football guys, which is all of you, you know that late June is not the most ideal time to get hired as a football coach. You've basically missed the entire offseason. You have 1 month left before you have for real games and practices and things like that. So with that, I had a lot of decisions to make. It's not ideal, but as a 30-year-old with not a lot of coordinator experience, no head coaching experience, you take the job that's given to you. So in June, when I took over, I said, do I switch offenses? Like I told you before, I was a triple option guy. That's what I wanted to be. That's where I felt like I knew the most, but I knew this offense pretty well. So why not stick with it and then just add to it? So that's kind of what we decided to do. And I felt like the wing T at that moment gave us the best chance to win football games. Coming in July and overhauling everything when we were already changing a defensive scheme probably wasn't the best thing for us to win football games. So we stuck with the wing T. I also had 7 returning offensive starters, and that made my decision even easier, right? You have 7 guys that played in a system that I already knew from before. It's a no-brainer to stick with it. So we stuck with the wing T, and boy, am I glad we did. So what we had here when I took over, the Comet wing T was based in rocket toss and the down play, or we like to call it belly, with ISO being their other base play, which you wing T guys would call that belly. It gets confusing. But anyways, I'm gonna talk the wing T lingo here. It's not our lingo, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk it. So our ISO being the other base play. They had toyed with a little bit of buck sweep, but weren't really running it well. But I wanted that to be our base. So that was kind of my stamp on things, is that we were going to be a buck sweep team. That was going to be our base play. And I knew my returning starter was my tailback. He had rushed for 900 yards the year before as a sophomore, and he was a dude. And so I knew I had to get him the ball as much as possible, and I felt like the buck sweep was the best way to get him the ball. So I knew that's where we wanted to base ourselves in. We had a huge hole at fullback that needed to be filled. Our all-state fullback from a year ago had graduated. He was a 1,200-yard rusher, back-to-back all-conference player. I mean, he was the stud of the offense. So we had to replace him and find kind of a common ground between the old wing T and my new brand of wing T, which isn't really new or anything mind-shattering to any of you wing T guys. But I'm hoping I can give you something out of this presentation that maybe you hadn't done before. We knew we had to find counters as well and sleight of hand to our base plays. The counter game from the year ago when I took over and was watching film was okay, but it could definitely be upgraded. And that's one thing that I had talked to Coach DeVries before I came in. What did you feel like you needed the most? And he said counter game. So that's what we're going to speak a little bit on here. So what we added buck sweep. Obviously, we got a little better at that. We added our crisscross play as a counter. We added belly sweep off our ISO. That was already a base play. We added in a little push call, which is just a little wrinkle to a formation. And then at the end of the year, we added in a B draw. So I'm going to go over, those are the 5 plays that I'm going to cover here. So I'm going to start here with buck sweep. So fixing the buck sweep. The problem was they always had somebody in the hole. The problem came from that they were doubling the D end with the wing and the tight end. So we had to fix that. That was the main issue right now. So they were pushing the guy vertical, keeping him in the gap. So when he got off the block, he was just waiting for the running back to be there. So we talked to our O-line about pushing the D end horizontally, not vertically. You push them vertical, you keep them in the gap. So we talked about getting down, under wash climb was the new rule that we wanted to put in. So what that told our tight end was, you want to get under that defensive end. We don't want you to block him. If you don't have to block him, we want you to get under him. And that creates 2 things. One, hopefully he squeezes a little bit, making that an easier block for your Z or your wing. We call him our Z. and it gets him going to the next level, and it helps him wash that next gap down. So you're totally creating this wall. So instead of coming straight ahead and blocking double, now we're getting that Y underneath, and then that Z, that wing, is married with that Y, and they're both coming down, making a wall. Like I said, I'm probably not giving you big wing T buck sweep guys anything new, but maybe a different terminology to put it to your kids. So we speak to our Y about underwash climb. We want him to get under that guy. If he can get under him, perfect. If not, wash him down, and then the Z will carry on, or the wing. We would also run a switch play. We decided we were going to put in a buck sweep switch where the pulling guards would just switch jobs. So our front side guard would climb, and then the backside guard would actually kick out. It helped us against heavy penetrating teams. It also helped us if our wing was having a trouble blocking down that D end. And it also got our front side guard to a heavy scraping linebacker sooner than that backside guard would get there. So that was kind of the wrinkles, and that's kind of how we went through, I guess, fixing the buck sweep in our offense. All right, so when we married ourselves to the buck sweep being our main play, I also thought we married ourselves to having the crisscross be our main counter. And I told you coming into this season, one of the things that we knew we had to get better at was counters. I call the crisscross play the counter to end all counters. It is, I think, one of the best counters I've ever seen, especially when you're actually putting in the double handoff. A lot of people are afraid of the double handoff for the natural reasons of you're having multiple guys touch the football, and that gets a little scary. But I was like, no, we got to do it. We're going to do it. And even my assistant coaches were like, I don't know about this. And I said, no, we're getting it done. Believe that we're going to get it done, and we will. So we married ourselves to having the crisscross play be our main counter. I love this play during my time at Central, but like I said, was nervous of the double handoff. My team had a little experience with it, but had never really run it in a game. They toyed with it a little bit last year, didn't really like it, didn't like how it was hitting, so they kind of abandoned it. But we were dead set on it. Like I get in these mindsets where I get these goggles on, and I said, no, we're doing it. I don't care. I don't care what it looks like right now. We're going to stick with it. So we had some struggles at first. We were hitting it pretty slow. Our quarterback was getting the ball to our tailback slow, so then that made the handoff to the wing really slow. We were fumbling it. It was just slow. So we had to take a step back. We had to turn it into a power handoff instead of the buck sweep handoff, which probably should have been doing that all along, but as a first-year head coach, we learned, right? So we turned around and we made it a power handoff. So my quarterback was physically turning his body and bringing the ball to our tailback. And then the key point to that is our tailback was making this kind of motion with his hands, right? So the quarterback has to put it in that spot. There's no, I'm going to give it to you at your forearm. I'm going to give it to you here. It's got to be right there. So our quarterback had to work every day on putting the ball right there, putting the ball right there. And I know a lot of guys in the wing T just do that as a regular handoff, but we do that simply just for our crisscross. So it's a table and stop here with their hands. So our quarterback had to put that in his hand. Another key for us was getting that play side tackle to wash all the way down and making sure that he saw his play side guards back. If he didn't do that, if he didn't wash all the way down, then that leaves room for that D tackle to come out, and that's really where your play is going to get blown up, right? If he loops or does something like that around your guard, and now your guard's chasing him back into the hole, we're in trouble. So we made sure to have our tackle. His rule became wash that A gap, and then you can climb. So we wanted to make sure that he was washing that A gap and climbing. And I have some here clips later that show him sometimes doing that, and sometimes he didn't, and you'll see the difference. So the next play, we didn't install this was already there, but it became our bread and butter play. I told you before, we had graduated a fullback the year before that was an all-state player, two-time all-conference player, just the rock of the offense. And we didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't know how we were going to replace him. So we took our inside linebacker, who had been an offensive line his whole high school career, and we said, you know what, you're our fullback now. And, you know, he's 6'1", 6'2", 220 pounds. So he's a big fullback for our size football. But I told him, you're going to do it. You got to do it, right? So the ISO play became huge for us. It was his bread and butter play at that size. We'd have our tailback lead through, him follow. And we ran that. The first 3 games of the year, we were busting teams on it over and over. And then teams started getting cute and bringing that guy inside, and we were like, okay, now we got to add something else. We got to add another level to our offense. So we added in the belly ISO sweep, which, like I said, you guys out there probably already run this, but we had to run it this year for the first time. This was our counter to our ISO play. Became effective when teams really started jumping in to stop our fullback because they had to, right? He's 6'1", 220, bigger than most linemen that we're playing against. They had to bring extra guys in to stop him. So this really opened it up for our belly sweep. Completely changed our offense from 3 yards in a cloud to 3 yards, and now we're going to hit a home run on you. We really started hitting it when the tailback started leading outside to block instead of going inside. He had just been in the habit of every time he would hear, we call it slam, going forward. We're going right inside. We had to teach him, no. Slam sweep is different. You have to go outside and seal that off now. So once we got him doing that, we really started hitting. We were also really lucky to have small athletic guards that were able to pause, let the wash clear, and then get outside and find work. Those guys, like I said, we're not a big school, so we had really small, fast guards that were getting out there and doing some work, and I'll show you on the clips here in a few minutes. A key coaching point for us was really having our quarterback sell the fake. They had to, like our fullback would almost rip their arms off and make them come forward with it, and then they had to open back up and give to our wing. So they really, we had to, every day in practice, when we practiced this, we had to sit down, and I had to watch them and make sure they started here and finished. It was almost like an option fake or something like that. So he had to ride it, and if he didn't do it, he had to go take off and do something else for a few minutes and then come back and try it again. Usually he had to do up downs or something like that. So we really had to drive that into his head. That's the only way people are going to bite on this, and we want them to bite on it. So we really had to preach that. The next thing we added was our push call. As the year went on, we wanted to get RF the ball more and more because he was just racking up yards. He had an injury at the start of the year, but then come about week 4, he was just boom, 200 yards. So I was like, we need to get this guy the ball more, and we need to split time with him and our fullback getting the ball equally. So we put in our push call. All it did was it pushed our fullback out to where the tailback would normally play, and our tailback became our B. So now we're able to run that ISO with our big, burly fullback leading through and our tailback following him instead of the opposite. We're able to run a B-back toss because the rocket toss that had been so good to them in the years past just wasn't working for us for some reason. The rocket toss, the pitch was getting messed up with the quarterback, and we really just wanted to shorten that pitch up. So we wanted to get our fast guy out there instead of our fullback out there. So we just had him switch, making that toss a little easier. Huge difference maker for us because we were having a tough time making that rocket pitch, like I said. The toss became shorter and easier. And it got another lead blocker out there who, like I said, kid had been a lineman his whole career. We converted him to a fullback, and now you have that guy out there lead blocking for you. And like I said, I'll show you on film some of the destruction that he caused along the way. Finally, the last thing we put in was a B draw. I saved the draw play. I was hoping we didn't need it until the playoff time came around, so the other team had no idea that we even ran a draw. They hadn't seen anything that said, oh yeah, this team will definitely run a draw. And like I said, we're not a heavy passing team, so the pass fake wasn't what sold it. It was just that they had never seen it. So we saved it. We had exhausted every option in our playbook by that time, and we just needed something fresh. So we put that in. Turned out to be a great play for us in that game. We ran it a couple times and had some success with it. I'm really looking forward to watching that grow. We just block it with our normal half slide protection, and I'll show you the clip of it here in a minute. So now I have some clips for you of some things that we did. This is a buck sweep here. This was just a great run here by our tailback. I told you he's an all-conference player, 1,600-yard rusher. Has a chance next year. He'll be coming back as a senior to break the school record. He's just a special player all around. Couple things that I really liked about this play is I liked how patient he was. We teach him to kind of wait it out, and then as soon as he sees that last down block, then he sticks his foot and cuts up. You'll see on a couple of these clips when he's a little anxious, that's when the play really gets stuffed. But when he's patient and lets that thing ride and lets his lead blockers get out there, it can seriously do some damage. Another thing that we do is we're bringing this guy across, this left tackle across to kick out that corner. We call him the touchdown block. So if he makes it all the way across and gets a hold of that corner, we're in really good shape with the touchdown block. And he gets in that guy's way just enough to spring this play. And then, like I said, just a great individual play by our all-conference player. This is another buck sweep. This one's, like I said, same kind of deal. We get guys out there, our running back's patient, and he cuts it up. This one ends up getting flagged and called back. Questionable holding call, but nonetheless, it's a great play for us. It's a big hole, opens up here. Another buck sweep here. This is against a team that in our conference, they're kind of the kings of the wing tee, right? So we steal some things from them because they run it really well. So we were kind of able to, this is a battle between two great wing tee teams here. So this one, like I said, another great kick out by our guys here. The only thing that I would critique our guy on here is he gets a little wide and our lead blocker comes through and he blocks the guy that our tackle's supposed to block. If he would have cut up sooner, now our running back doesn't have to make any kind of cut, and he would have been able to block that guy, and our running back wouldn't have had to make that individual play like that right here. See if he would have cut up instead of kicking out that corner who we already have a guy for. Get to some of our crisscross here. These are all buck sweeps. All right, so here's a crisscross for us. Like I said, we are the double handoff. We're not bringing our quarterback around to give it to our Z or anything like that. We're a true double handoff. You'll see our tailback takes the ball with his table and stop, and our quarterback brings the ball to him and puts it in his gut. This play is just so money for us. We were hitting it when we first started running it a lot. We were hitting it for 30 yards a pop. I mean, teams were like, okay, buck sweep, buck sweep. Oh no. Okay, you can see here where these running backs are just overrunning it completely. So I would highly recommend, if you're a buck sweep team, don't be afraid of the double handoff. Don't be afraid of it. We had 0 fumbles on a double handoff this year. If anything, we fumbled more taking a snap from the center than we ever did fumbling any kind of crisscross. So don't be afraid of it. Run it, because it will change the game. I mean, it's just something to be said about seeing the ball go in one guy's hand is way more of a sell than the quarterback turning around and handing it off to the Z. They see it go in that guy's hand. They go, I swear he has the ball, and he doesn't. Here's an end zone copy of that run we just had. Just the only complaint I have here is our tackle didn't wash down, but our running back was good enough to make the adjustment and bounce it a little wider. We don't necessarily like that. We want it to hit inside, but I mean, like I said, guys sometimes just make great. So like I said, here's the end zone copy of the clip I just showed you. Our running back is patient here, looks for it to bounce. Not a big fan of it bouncing, but sometimes you just got to take it where the hole is. Here's another crisscross. My tight end gets a little lost here. Actually, probably should have kicked out the guy that ends up making the tackle. My quarterback tries to throw a block here, but he obviously didn't pack the punch that my tight end would have packed when he's supposed to be wrapping around to that guy. But nonetheless, it's a first down for us. Another crisscross here. Just watch how these linebackers flow because they're so sure that guy has it because we've run so many buck sweeps, and that's all they see on film. You just can't teach a 17, 18-year-old kid to just be so sure that that counter's coming back. And the cool thing about it is if you're reading guards against us, we're not pulling a guard, we're pulling a tackle and tight end. So there's really no read that tells them, oh yeah, this play's coming back this way. Nothing tells them that. So that's what makes this just a son of a gun to defend. And, you know, when you have players that can make plays like that, it's big. Another crisscross. This is in our Week 9 game. We had to win this one to win the conference and make it to the playoffs, and this was the first score we had was on a crisscross. And that whole drive, you'll notice we're at about the 15-yard line. We had run buck sweep about 4 times for probably 40 yards at this point, so they were just sure that's what we were going to continue to run, and then we hit them with the counter play. Looking forward here to our belly sweep. Nope, this is another crisscross. And this one goes for a huge gain again. I mean, we're just getting such huge running lanes just off of sleight of hand. And there's a few of these where my kick out guy just whiffs and we still are getting huge holes. All right, so now here's some clips of our ISO play. Like I said, we just have this fullback that's just a monster and just makes individual plays all the time. And like I said, a lot of these clips of us chewing up huge yardage on our slam play are from our first 3 games of the season. And we were chewing up yards, and then we're like, what is the next step? What is the next step for our offense? What can we do? And I watched a Chief Pigskin video from last year, Coach McKee, and his team runs the belly sweep the best I've seen it run. I don't know. I'm just really impressed. So I watched his videos and I was like, no, this is what we have to do. We have to have slam sweep or belly sweep in our playbook. So like I said, these are huge plays we're chewing up. Teams started to get cute and come inside on us, and we had to have a counter punch for it. So we had to go, like I said, slam sweep for us. Belly sweep for all of you guys, wing tee guys at home. The terminology is different, but it all is good, right? All right, so here's a slam sweep for us. You'll notice that they were really getting nosy inside on this play. And we hit our counter on them. Slam sweep. Coming out wide, here we come. Great kick out there by our guard, and now we're getting upfield. Now we're getting huge chunk plays because you got nosy inside. Another one, watch my guard out here. Running with my Z, getting a huge block, leading the way. This is a huge game for us. The team that we're playing here is ranked 6th in the state. Like I told you, they're a great wing tee team themselves, undefeated. We had to win this game to keep our playoff hopes alive, and this was our 2nd score of the game. Really had the kids starting to believe in themselves here at this point in the game because we just busted a huge run on them, backbreaker. Another one. This is one of our bigger rivals here. Another really good school here locally. And my guard getting out, lead blocking, and here we come. You got nosy inside. You can see the kid realize he makes a mistake. He comes in to stop our slam, and he's just stuck. He's stuck. He doesn't know what to do. Another one, same team. Here we come. Oh, he got nosy. See ya. Okay, I'm going to get into some of our push stuff now. So this is our push. You can see we have our big fullback now lead blocking on our ISO play for our smaller, faster tailback. And I mean, he's just making huge blocks because he's been a lineman his whole life. And this is the one thing that he probably feels the most comfortable with is knocking heads with people. So he's coming out here and just delivering blows. And then this is a little bit of our toss play here. Same look. So now we're getting our big fullback out in space, and he's getting to block corners and safeties, which is like a dream come true for him. I'm telling you, if you met the guy, you would understand. It's like a dream come true for him getting out and just being able to block a corner that is much smaller. Here we bring in a little zip motion with it. We got into the point where we were bringing that zip motion, and now we're able to run ISO underneath it. We're getting another blocker in there. Here he comes again, leading up. pancaking guys, opening up holes. Just a simple, same exact play we've been running, just switching the alignment of those two guys. Putting our B back out, putting our F in where the B back would normally be. And then the last play I'm going to leave you with here is our B draw play. You'll notice, like I said, we're not a huge passing team. Most teams probably don't prepare for a lot of passing stuff against us, but you can see they're dropping back, and our quarterback just slides the ball right into our B, and there's a huge hole. Everybody's still dropping back. Like I said, our passing game is not prolific by any means. It's something that we need to get better at, but we sold it just enough to make this play work. So this is just another wrinkle to our offense. Nothing changes for our O-line. They're blocking it just like a pass. We're just giving it to our stud there. All right. Looking ahead on our offense, so how can we make our offense even better? The thing I've really grown to love about the wing T is it's forever adapting for us. We can take anything that we want and kind of make it fit in our scheme. Continue to add wrinkles that fit in our system and play off of all of our plays. We're looking to add jet in the spring, so if anybody out there wants to talk some wing T and is a jet running team, would love to talk to you. We're going to add just a basic dive. We're going to be more multiple with our formations. And we have to add a passing game. So we want to be more multiple with our formations and add in more of a passing game. So I'm always looking to learn. This is a picture of our VVC champs, but I wanted to get to this page. I'm always looking to learn. Please contact me anytime with questions, comments. If you just want to talk some wing T, please contact me. I love talking football. Always available through text, email, or Twitter. I have on there my phone, my email, and my Twitter account. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you get something out of this. And thanks again for Chief Pigskin for allowing me to speak today. Appreciate it.